Let's talk about quarterly estimated tax payments. This is a topic that comes up and it's important, especially if you are an owner operator or if you are a company driver that's getting paid with a 1099. This is important for you guys because you don't have anybody taking money out of your check every week or every other week. So what happens is you need to be sending payments into the IRS yourself. But a lot of people get confused about what that process is and how it works, especially owner operators and the truck drivers out there who are getting paid with the 1099. So I want to make a video just to kind of talk about it a little bit. And the first thing is that the quarterly estimated tax payments are due quarterly, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And the due dates are April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and January 15th. So those are when they're due. And you want to pay in something, especially if like I said, if nobody's taking any kind of money out of your checks. And that's something you just really want to be careful of, because you don't want to get to the end of the year and then have this gigantic $20, $30, $40, $50,000, whatever that number is, some large tax bill, and then try to figure it out on the back end. What you want to do is try to be proactive and get a handle on it, that big tax bill, by breaking that down into smaller payments throughout the year. And that's why the IRS actually will penalize you. They'll charge you a penalty if you don't pay in throughout the year if you make a certain amount of money. So you want to make sure you're paying in quarterly tax payments. What amount? So again, this is everybody's question, right? Brandon, what do I pay? What do I pay? I don't know your situation. It is going to vary. There's so many different factors that go into that calculation. If you're married, if you're single, do you have any other businesses? Do you have any other property? Like, there's just so many things. I can't give you the answer at all as far as what that amount is. But what I will tell you is you definitely want to be working with somebody to help you sort that out, because if you don't remember anything else that I ever say in any of my videos, you've got to know your numbers. If you are a trucking business owner, you have got to know your numbers. Remember that. And then the next thing is, so after you've sat down and you've figured out kind of what amount you want to send in, the next thing is, how do you actually pay that? And I'm going to go over that. I'm just going to do a screen share on the IRS website, because personally I recommend making the payment online through the IRS website, because you have confirmation right there that the IRS has received the payment. You've applied that payment to the right account, to the right year, and you've told the IRS, this is the amount of money that I want to send in, and you have your confirmation via email. It's a very clean process. Then when you go to do your taxes, you take that with you to do with your tax preparer and say, hey, I've paid in taxes throughout the year, and then here's my proof. All right, so now let's do a screen share so you can see what it looks like to actually make that payment online. All right, in this video, we're going to talk about how to make estimated tax payments. So where we want to start is going to irs.gov. And then once you get here, you want to hover over pay. There'll be some pay by options on this left-hand column. But over to the right, under the popular section, there's going to be a section called estimated taxes. Just click that. And then once you're here under the estimated taxes section, the IRS has some information here that could be helpful for you. It talks about, who must pay, who does not have to pay, and then how to figure out the estimated tax, and then also when to pay estimated taxes. So you can kind of read through that to give you a little bit more information if you like, but we are going to focus on when to pay estimated taxes. So it gives you some options for making the estimated tax payment. And if you hover over pay online, that's what we're going to focus on here. So you can see once we are here under the payment section, paying your taxes. So you have the option to pay the estimated tax payments either by bank account or debit or credit card. If you use a debit or credit card, just know that there will be a fee for that transaction. But if you go to bank account, there is no fee. So I'm going to select bank account, direct pay. So once we're here, direct pay with bank account. So there's some information here about making this payment. You can read through that, but we're going to go to make a payment. So once we're here on the make a payment section, one of the things that the first thing that it asks us is what's the reason for the payment? So what are you paying to the IRS? So you can select here. It's going to give you, when you select that, it's going to give you a bunch of options. And in this example, we want to make an estimated tax payment. So once you select estimated tax payment, it asks, the next thing that it does is it says apply payment to what series. So this is going to be for our 1040. Again, this is, in this example, we're talking about someone that's self-employed, or you're a single member LLC, or you are an S corporation. But either way, you're making payments that will be applied to your individual income tax return, your 1040. So you figure out if this applies to you or not. Again, this is not for like C corporation owners. Okay. So the tax period for payment. So keep in mind, we're trying to make an estimated tax payment for the taxes that are due coming up. So for here, this is 2020, but we're trying to make estimated tax payments for 2021. All right. So we click continue. Then it just asks us to confirm what we're doing here. Make sure that that's correct. So the next step is to verify your identity. So one of the ways the IRS verifies your identity is by looking at a tax return that you filed already. So in this example, you were able to pick from the previous few years. So what we're trying to say is, okay, IRS, verify this is me by looking at the information on a return that I've previously filed. So you can select from either of these years for identity verification purposes. So what I'm going to tell you now is it's a good idea to have whatever year you select, make sure you have that tax return in hand, because it's going to ask you some questions that you need that tax return for. All right. So in this example, I'm going to select 2020. And then it's going to ask you what was the filing status of that 2020 tax return. Your first name, last name, your social security number, your date of birth, address that was on that return, and then you fill out all this. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to fill this out, and then we're going to move on to the next step. But you're going to fill this out using your information. All right, so I filled out my verification information, and then the next step here, step 3, is to actually put in the payment amount. So again, this is just an example. So I'm going to put in $10. So I put in $10, then it asks me to confirm that amount. Next, it says the payment date. The day's date is December 2nd, 2021, so I'll just leave that there. Then the next thing you want to do is fill out your bank account information of where the payment will actually be taken from. And then you tell the IRS, is it a checking account or a savings account? And then it's going to ask you about email notifications. So you select yes, I would like to agree. You can read the terms of service, and if you agree, then select it, and then you enter your email address. So I'm going to complete this step, and then I'm going to come back and we'll move on to the next step. So after I've entered my bank information, the next step that I see is this disclosure authorization. And the IRS is saying, you must agree to the authorization below, and then you would then have the opportunity to review your payment details before submitting the payment. So I'm going to select agree. All right, so after you've agreed to the disclosure, it's going to give you an opportunity to review the information you've submitted just to confirm before you actually go through with this. So it's going to be the reason for the payment, which is estimated tax, apply payment to, again, this is for a 1040. The tax year for payment is 2021. The payment amount is $10, and today's date is December 2nd. So that looks right to me. And then you're going to look at your bank account information just to confirm that, the routing number, the account number, and then it's going to ask you about email confirmation notifications. And you've already opted into that with your email address. And then next you want to do the electronic signature. So once you submit the electronic signature, then the next thing is actually going to be to accept the agreement. You'll open this up here. You can read through that. And then once you've accepted that, it'll give you the opportunity to submit. So I'm going to fill this out and then I'll be right back. All right, so I click submit, and now here I have a confirmation screen. So the payment has been submitted, and you will get an email from the IRS about this payment, but it's going to give you your confirmation number and then just basically sort of a rundown of everything that happened with it. All right. And then you're done. So you can print that if you'd like. What I do is I do like to print it, and I print a copy for my record, and then I just save it, and then I keep this at tax time just to keep a record of all the estimated tax payment that I've made throughout the year. So that is how you make an estimated tax payment online with the IRS. Be sure to hit the like button on the way out. Thanks for watching.